I found the text message because I'm an idiot who still believes in anniversaries. 22 years of marriage, and I'd planned this elaborate dinner at Marcello's, the Italian place where I'd proposed. I wanted to surprise Jennifer, so I grabbed her phone to check her calendar, make sure she didn't have some work thing scheduled. That's when I saw it, a thread with Amanda Peterson, her best friend since college. The woman who'd been at our wedding, who'd held our kids when they were born, who'd sat at our dinner table every Sunday for 2 decades. The most recent message was from 3 hours ago. Amanda. I can't stop thinking about Thursday night. When you left the room, I wanted to follow you so badly. Jennifer. I know. Me too. This is getting harder. Amanda. We need to talk about what we're doing. Jennifer. Not over text. David's working late tomorrow. Come over at 8. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I stood in our bedroom, her phone trembling in my hand, reading that exchange 5 times. 6, 7. The words didn't change. I scrolled up, my heart doing something painful against my ribs. Jennifer. Sometimes I dream about what it would be like. Being free. Amanda. Then leave. I've dreamed about being with him for years, Jen. Years. Jennifer. It's not that simple. Amanda. It could be. You're the one making it complicated. My legs stopped working properly. I sat down hard on the edge of our bed, the bed Jennifer and I had picked out together 15 years ago, the bed where we'd conceived both our kids, the bed I'd carried her over the threshold into our first real house. Being with him, not being with Amanda, being with someone else, some man I didn't know existed. I checked the date on that particular exchange. 2 weeks ago. Right around the time Jennifer had started going to book club on Thursday nights. Book club that apparently involved Amanda and some mystery man and my wife dreaming about freedom. The phone buzzed in my hand. Another message from Amanda. Amanda. Just thinking about you. Can't wait for tomorrow. XO. I set the phone down exactly where I'd found it, screen side down on Jennifer's nightstand. My hands were steady. That surprised me. Everything inside me was screaming, but my hands were steady. I walked downstairs to my office, the converted garage where I'd built my accounting practice from nothing. 26 years of grinding, building a client list that now stretched across 3 counties. I'd started doing taxes for neighbors and somehow ended up with 2 associates and a waiting list. Good, honest work. The kind of work that let us buy this 4-bedroom colonial in a neighborhood with decent schools and trees, older than my grandparents. I sat down at my desk and opened my laptop, typed in Amanda Peterson's name, and started digging. Amanda had been part of our lives so long I'd stopped really seeing her. She was just there. Jennifer's friend, Jennifer's support system, the person my wife called when she needed to vent about me or the kids or her job at the law firm. They'd met at Northwestern, pledged the same sorority, stayed close through everything. Amanda had never married, never even had a serious relationship that lasted more than a few months. Jennifer used to joke that Amanda was married to her career. She ran some boutique consulting firm downtown, pulled in serious money, lived in a sleek high-rise in Lincoln Park. I'd always assumed Amanda was single by choice, independent, career-focused, maybe a little lonely. I'd never once considered that she might be in love with my wife's affair partner. No, that wasn't quite right. Jennifer's text said Amanda had dreamed about being with him for years. Past tense, present desire, someone Amanda had wanted but couldn't have because… what? Because he was married? Because he was married to her best friend? The logical part of my brain, the part that had spent 3 decades analyzing numbers and patterns, kicked into gear. I opened a fresh spreadsheet and started building a timeline. 6 months ago, Jennifer joined a new book club, met every Thursday night. I'd thought it was weird that Amanda was suddenly interested in reading after years of claiming she only consumed podcasts and Bloomberg articles. But who was I to judge? My wife was a junior partner at Whitman and Associates, pulling 70-hour weeks. If she wanted one night to unwind with friends, that seemed healthy. 4 months ago, Jennifer started staying out later on Thursdays. Midnight. 1 a.m. I'd asked about it once. She'd said they'd started getting drinks after the discussion. Made sense. 3 months ago, Jennifer bought new clothes. Nothing crazy, just nicer than her usual style. Professional, but with an edge. I'd complimented her. She'd smiled and said she was feeling good about herself. I'd been happy about that. 6 weeks ago, I'd noticed Jennifer texting more, always smiling at her phone. When I'd asked who she was talking to, she'd said, Amanda, without hesitation. No tells, no guilt in her eyes. 2 weeks ago, the I dream of being free message. The confirmation that Amanda wanted him. Yesterday, Jennifer working late, except she'd told me she was working late, and the text said David, me, was working late, which meant Jennifer had lied about where she was going, which meant she was with him, with Amanda, with them both? No, that didn't track. Amanda wanted him. Jennifer wanted freedom. They were talking about it, planning something, but the affair itself involved Jennifer and some unknown man. Amanda was the confidant, the cheerleader, the person pushing Jennifer to leave me for this other guy. Except Amanda also wanted him, which created a very specific dynamic. I opened a new browser tab and logged into our cell phone account. Jennifer and I shared a family plan, her line, my line, our daughter Melissa's line, our son Ryan's line. I pulled up Jennifer's call and text records for the past 6 months and started cross-referencing. Amanda's number appeared hundreds of times. Expected. But there was another number that showed up with increasing frequency starting 4 months ago. Always texts, never calls. Always in the evenings, usually after 9 p.m. when the kids were in bed and I was either working or watching TV. I copied the number into a reverse lookup database. Got a name, Thomas Brennan. Typed Thomas Brennan into LinkedIn. Found 3 in the Chicago area. One was 70 years old. One was 24. The third was 46, executive vice president at Garrison Partners, a venture capital firm with offices downtown. His profile picture showed a guy with salt and pepper hair, expensive suit, confident smile. Handsome in that way rich middle-aged men can be when they have personal trainers and stylists. I clicked through to his company page. Garrison Partners specialized in tech startups, had about $200 million under management, operated out of the same building as Whitman and Associates. Jennifer worked at Whitman and Associates. Same building, same floor maybe, same elevator, same coffee shop in the lobby. I sat back in my chair and stared at Thomas Brennan's face. This was him. This was the man my wife was having an affair with. This was the man Amanda Peterson had dreamed about being with for years. And suddenly, the whole picture snapped into focus. Amanda had wanted Thomas. Maybe she'd dated him once or tried to. Maybe he'd rejected her. Maybe she'd just pined from a distance. But at some point, probably around the time Jennifer started working in the same building, Thomas had shifted his attention to my wife. And Amanda, being Amanda, had stayed close, had encouraged Jennifer, had pushed her toward the affair because... why? Revenge? Vicarious satisfaction? Some twisted hope that if Jennifer left me for Thomas, Amanda could swoop in and... what? Take my place in Jennifer's life? Take Thomas after Jennifer grew tired of him? The more I thought about it, the less sense it made. But people don't always make sense, especially when emotions get involved. I checked the time. 7:30 p.m. Jennifer was still at the office, or that's what she'd told me. The kids were upstairs. Melissa, 19, home from college for the summer, probably on her phone. Ryan, 16, definitely playing video games with his headphones on. I closed my laptop and went upstairs to the kitchen. Made myself a sandwich I didn't want to eat. Chewed mechanically, swallowed, drank a glass of water. The front door opened at 8:15. Jennifer walked in carrying her briefcase and a coffee from Starbucks. She looked tired but smiled when she saw me. "Hey, babe," she said, setting her briefcase down and kicking off her heels. "Long day. How was yours?" "Fine," I said. "Got through tax season without any disasters. You hungry?" I grabbed something at the office. She walked over and kissed my cheek. Her perfume was different. Something new. Something expensive. "Where are the kids?" "Upstairs, doing their usual thing." She opened the refrigerator, pulled out a bottle of white wine, poured herself a glass. "I'm going to take a bath, maybe turn in early. Tomorrow's going to be brutal." "Thursday tomorrow," I said, keeping my voice neutral. "Book club, right?" "Right." She didn't miss a beat. "Should be home by 11. "Sounds good." She took her wine and headed upstairs. I listened to her footsteps, heard the bathroom door close, heard the water start running. I stood in my kitchen, our kitchen, the kitchen I'd painted myself 2 years ago, the kitchen where we'd hosted Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter and countless Sunday dinners, and felt something cold settle into my chest. Jennifer was going to see Thomas Brennan tomorrow night. She was going to lie about book club, drive somewhere, his apartment, a hotel, and spend hours with a man who wasn't me. And then she was going to come home, kiss me goodnight, slip into our bed, and pretend everything was fine. And Amanda Peterson was going to help her do it, was going to cover for her, enable her, push her toward freedom while harboring her own feelings for the same man. I could confront Jennifer right now, storm upstairs, throw the phone in her face, demand answers. That's what the anger wanted. That's what the betrayal screamed for. But I'd spent 30 years building a career on patience and strategy, on understanding that the first move isn't always the best move, on waiting for the right moment to act. So instead of confronting my wife, I went back to my office and started making a plan. The next morning, I woke up at 5:30 like always. Jennifer was still asleep, her hair spread across the pillow, her face peaceful. She looked exactly like the woman I'd married. 22 years, and she could still take my breath away when I wasn't expecting it. I got dressed quietly, went downstairs, made coffee, sat at the kitchen table with my laptop, and continued the research I'd started the night before. Thomas Brennan was 46, divorced, 2 kids who lived with their mother in Evanston. He'd founded Garrison Partners 8 years ago after spending 15 years at another venture capital firm. Net worth somewhere between 50 and 100 million, if the public records were accurate. He sat on 3 boards, had been featured in Crane's Chicago Business twice, owned a penthouse condo in Streeterville, and a vacation home in Harbor Springs. He was, in other words, exactly the kind of man who would catch a woman's eye. Successful, confident, wealthy, powerful. Everything I wasn't. I'm not a bad-looking guy. I've kept myself in decent shape, still have most of my hair, dress professionally when I need to. But I'm an accountant from Oak Park who drives a 4-year-old Honda Accord and shops at Costco. I'm solid, reliable, safe. Thomas Brennan was exciting. I found his divorce records. He'd split from his wife 3 years ago. No fault, amicable settlement, joint custody, standard stuff. I pulled his social media. He wasn't active, but there were a few photos from charity events, fundraisers, that kind of thing. In most of them, he had his arm around various attractive women. Never the same woman twice. I checked Amanda Peterson's social media next. She was more active, professional posts about her consulting work, pictures from trips to New York and San Francisco and Miami, photos with Jennifer at various restaurants and bars. I scrolled back through the past 2 years, looking for any evidence of Thomas Brennan. Found it in a post from 18 months ago. Some startup networking event downtown. Amanda had posted a group photo with a caption about making connections. Thomas Brennan was in the background, talking to someone I didn't recognize. Amanda hadn't tagged him, but the timestamp matched his location data from that night. They'd been in the same room 18 months ago. That was the connection. That was when it started. I kept digging, found more overlaps, events, fundraisers, places where Amanda and Thomas would have crossed paths. She'd probably met him through her consulting work. Probably talked him up to Jennifer when they started working in the same building. Probably introduced them, thinking she was being helpful. And then Thomas had chosen Jennifer instead of Amanda. My phone buzzed. Text from Jennifer. Jennifer. Running late this morning. Can you make sure Ryan gets breakfast? I typed back, no problem, love you. She responded with a heart emoji. I stared at that heart for a long time. Ryan came downstairs at 6:30, grabbed a protein bar and some orange juice, grunted a hello. He was a good kid, quiet, focused, planning to play baseball at state next year. He'd inherited Jennifer's dark hair and sharp features, my height and build. Looking at him hurt sometimes, seeing the combined evidence of everything Jennifer and I had built together. Big game tonight, I said. Yeah. He was scrolling through his phone, not really paying attention. Coach wants me to pitch the last 3 innings if we're ahead. I'll be there. Cool. He finished his juice, grabbed his backpack, headed out to catch his ride to school. I heard his friend's car honking outside, heard Ryan yell goodbye, heard the front door slam. Melissa appeared a few minutes later, more alert than her brother, already dressed and put together. She'd gotten Jennifer's brains and ambition, my steadiness and work ethic. She was majoring in political science at Michigan, planning to go to law school, probably going to run the world someday. Morning, Dad. She poured herself coffee, added cream and sugar. Mom still sleeping? She left early, meeting downtown. Melissa sat down across from me. You okay? You look tired. Long week, tax extensions are wearing me down. You should take a vacation, you and Mom. When's the last time you guys went somewhere, just the 2 of you? Been a while, I admitted. Seriously, you need it, both of you. She checked her phone, made a face. I have to run, working a double shift at the hospital today. Melissa had a summer job as a patient advocate at Rush. Another thing to be proud of. Another reminder that my life had meaning, that Jennifer and I had created something real and lasting together. Drive safe, I said. She kissed my forehead on her way out. Love you, Dad. After she left, I sat in the empty house and listened to the silence. This house had been full of noise for so long. Kids playing, TV blaring, Jennifer and I arguing about whose turn it was to do dishes or whether we could afford to remodel the bathroom. Normal noise, family noise. Now it felt hollow. I checked the time. 8 a.m. My first client meeting was at 9. I needed to shower, get dressed, pretend everything was fine. But first I had a phone call to make. I looked up the number for Garrison Partners and dialed. Got a receptionist with a pleasant voice. Good morning, Garrison Partners. Hi, I'm trying to reach Thomas Brennan's office. May I ask who's calling? David Turner. I'm an accountant working on a project that might interest Mr. Brennan. Nothing urgent, but I'd love to schedule a brief conversation. Let me transfer you to his assistant. Hold music. 30 seconds. Then a woman's voice, crisper than the receptionist. Mr. Brennan's office. How can I help you? I repeated my pitch. The assistant was polite but firm. Mr. Brennan's schedule was packed for the next 2 weeks, but if I wanted to email a proposal, she'd make sure he saw it. Actually, I said, I'm trying to get a sense of his availability for something else. Does he typically work late on Thursday evenings? A pause. I'm sorry? I'm trying to coordinate schedules with several people. Just want to know if Thursday evenings are generally open for Mr. Brennan, or if he has standing commitments. I really can't discuss Mr. Brennan's personal schedule. If you'd like to set up a meeting, I can... No problem, I'll send that email. Thanks for your help. I hung up before she could respond. Stupid move calling like that. but I'd learned something useful. Thomas Brennan had an assistant who protected his schedule, which meant if he was having an affair, he was being careful about it. Not careful enough, though. Not if I was already putting the pieces together. I went upstairs, showered, got dressed, drove to my office in Oak Park, smiled at my associates, worked through 3 client meetings. Routine stuff, a small business needing help with quarterly estimates, a couple filing joint returns, a new client who'd just moved from out of state and needed everything set up. I smiled, made small talk, did my job. The whole time, a plan was forming in the back of my mind. At 6 p.m., I left the office and drove to Lincoln Park. Found Amanda Peterson's building, a sleek glass tower near the lake, the kind of place with a doorman and a lobby that looked like a hotel. I parked across the street and waited. 7:15, Amanda emerged from the building. She was dressed casually, jeans, nice blouse, leather jacket. She got into her car, a white Audi, and pulled out of the garage. I followed her. This was risky. If she spotted me, if she recognized my car, the whole thing would blow up before I was ready. But I'd spent 30 years being invisible, being the steady guy in the background, and that invisibility served me now. Amanda drove south toward Hyde Park, turned into a parking garage near the university. I followed at a distance, watched her park and head toward a building I recognized, the Harper Memorial Library, book club. She was actually going to book club. I waited 20 minutes, then drove home. Got there at 8:30. Jennifer was in the kitchen, dressed in dark jeans and a silk blouse I hadn't seen before. She was touching up her makeup in the hallway mirror. "Hey," she said when I walked in. "You're late." Client ran long. "You look nice." "Thanks." She smiled, checked her reflection one more time. "I'm heading out in a few minutes. Book club." "Have fun. What are you reading this month?" "Oh, She grabbed her purse, flustered for just a second. "It's a mystery. I can't remember the title. Amanda picked it." "Cool. I'll probably watch the game with Ryan. He's pitching tonight." "That's great." She kissed my cheek. Her perfume was strong, that same expensive scent from yesterday. "Don't wait up. We might grab drinks after." "Drive safe." She left. I watched through the window as she got into her car, a Lexus we'd bought last year when her old sedan gave out, and pulled out of the driveway. I waited 30 seconds, then grabbed my keys and followed her. Jennifer drove north on Harlem, then east on the Eisenhower. I stayed 3 cars back, trying to look natural. She exited downtown, navigated through evening traffic, pulled into a parking garage on Wacker. I couldn't follow her into the garage without being obvious, so I parked on the street and walked. Found a coffee shop with a view of the garage entrance and bought a cup I didn't want. Sat at a window seat and watched. 20 minutes later, Jennifer emerged from the garage on foot. She walked 2 blocks to a restaurant I recognized, Miro's, an upscale tapas place with dim lighting and a reputation for privacy. I crossed the street, stayed far enough back that she wouldn't notice me, watched her walk inside. Waited 5 minutes, followed her in. The hostess greeted me with a smile. "Good evening. Do you have a reservation?" "No, I'm just meeting someone. I think I see them." I scanned the restaurant. It was crowded, mostly couples and small groups. I spotted Jennifer at a corner booth, and sitting across from her was Thomas Brennan. He was better looking in person than in his photos. Tall, fit, wearing a casual blazer and open-collared shirt. He was leaning forward, saying something that made Jennifer laugh. She touched his hand. He smiled. I turned and walked out before they could see me. Stood on the sidewalk, breathing hard, feeling something like acid crawl up my throat. That was it. Confirmation. My wife was having an affair with Thomas Brennan, and she'd lied to me about book club to do it. I walked back to my car in a daze, drove home on autopilot. Got there just as Ryan was pulling up with his friend's mom. "Hey, Dad!" Ryan jumped out of the car, grinning. "We won. I struck out the last 2 batters." "That's great, buddy." My voice sounded normal. I hugged him. "I'm sorry I missed it." It's okay. Mom said you had work stuff. Yeah, work stuff. We went inside. Ryan reheated leftover pizza, told me about the game. I listened, nodded, said the right things. When he went upstairs to do homework, I sat in the living room and stared at nothing. Jennifer came home at 11:30, exactly when she'd said she would. She was smiling, relaxed, her hair slightly mussed. Hey. She dropped her purse on the counter. Book club ran long. Good discussion, though. What did you talk about? Oh, plot twists, character development, the usual. She poured herself a glass of water. How was Ryan's game? He won. Struck out the last 2 batters. That's wonderful. She pulled out her phone. I'll text him congratulations. I watched her type the message, watched her smile at whatever he sent back, watched her set the phone down and stretch. I'm exhausted, she said. I'm going to bed. I'll be up in a minute. She kissed my forehead, casual, automatic, and headed upstairs. I sat in the living room for another hour, thought about everything I'd seen, everything I'd learned, thought about 22 years of marriage, 2 kids, a house, a life built together. Thought about Thomas Brennan's hand on Jennifer's wrist, the way she'd laughed at whatever he'd said. Thought about Amanda Peterson's text. Then leave. I've dreamed about being with him for years, and I realized something that should have been obvious from the start. This wasn't just about Jennifer's affair. This was about 2 women, 1 man, and a betrayal that ran deeper than I'd understood. Amanda wanted Thomas. Jennifer was with Thomas. But Amanda was still Jennifer's best friend, still encouraging the affair, still pushing Jennifer toward freedom, which meant Amanda was playing a longer game. I went upstairs, slipped into bed next to my wife. She was already asleep, her breathing soft and even. I lay there in the dark and started planning my revenge. The next morning, I called my lawyer. His name was Phil Kowalski, and I'd known him for 15 years, first as a client, then as a friend. He handled divorces, among other things, and he was smart enough to know when to ask questions and when to just listen. David, he said when his secretary put me through, what can I do for you? I need to talk about a hypothetical situation. Hypothetical? Okay. Hypothetically, if a man discovered his wife was having an affair, what would be the smartest way to handle it? A long pause. Are we talking about you? Hypothetically. Right. I heard him shifting papers. Hypothetically, the smart move would be to document everything before confronting the spouse. Get evidence. Financial records, phone records, anything that proves the affair. Because once you confront, she'll either deny everything or start hiding assets. What kind of evidence would hold up? Photos, texts, credit card statements showing hotel charges or dinners. Eyewitness testimony is good but harder to prove. Video is best if you can get it without breaking any laws. And if there were complications? What kind of complications? Hypothetically, what if the other woman, the wife's best friend, also had feelings for the affair partner? Another pause, longer this time. That's messy. Yeah. Is the best friend involved in the affair directly or just aware of it? Aware, encouraging it, pushing the wife to leave her husband. Why would she do that? I think she wants the affair partner for herself. Once the wife leaves her husband, the best friend thinks she'll have a shot. Jesus, David. Phil's voice changed. This is you, isn't it? This isn't hypothetical. Can you help me or not? He sighed. Come to my office, Monday morning. We'll talk about your options. Okay. And David, don't do anything stupid before then. No confrontations, no dramatic moves. Just document and wait. Got it. I hung up and went back to my spreadsheet. Over the next 3 days, I became a ghost in my own life. I went to work, came home, had dinner with the kids, kissed my wife goodnight. I smiled and nodded and pretended everything was fine. And every spare moment, I gathered evidence. I pulled Jennifer's credit card statements going back 6 months, found charges at Miro's, at a hotel downtown, at various upscale restaurants I'd never been to, always on Thursdays, sometimes twice a week. I pulled her cell phone records and cross-referenced them with Thomas Brennan's number. Hundreds of texts, very few calls. They were being careful, but enough to establish a pattern. I installed a GPS tracker on Jennifer's car, legal gray area technically, since my name was on the title. But I needed to know where she was going, and asking her was no longer an option. I hired a private investigator. His name was Ed Morrison, came recommended by Phil, and he charged $200 an hour. I gave him Thomas Brennan's address and a photo of Jennifer. I need photographic evidence, I told him. Time-stamped, date-stamped, clear images. How long have you known? Ed asked. About a week. And you want to wait before confronting? I want to be sure first. I want everything documented so she can't lie her way out of it. Smart. He handed me a business card. Call me if anything changes. Otherwise, I'll have a report for you in a week. On Monday, I met with Phil. He laid out my options. Confront Jennifer and try to work it out, file for divorce immediately, or wait and gather more evidence. Illinois is a no-fault state, Phil explained. Adultery doesn't affect the divorce itself, but it can impact custody and asset division if you can prove she's spending marital funds on the affair. She is. Hotels, dinners, all on our joint credit card. Good. That helps. What about the kids? Melissa's 19, legally an adult. Ryan's 16. I want primary custody of Ryan if it comes to that. The affair will help your case. Courts don't like parents who prioritize relationships over their kids' stability. Phil leaned back in his chair. But David, I have to ask, are you sure you want to end this? 22 years is a long time. She lied to me. She's still lying. I know. But marriages can survive infidelity. If you still love her. I do love her. That's the problem. Phil nodded. Okay, then let's make sure you're protected. Give me everything you found, and I'll start building a case. I handed him a flash drive with copies of all the financial records, phone logs, and GPS data. He promised to review it within a week. That night, Jennifer told me she had another late meeting. I didn't argue, just kissed her goodbye, watched her leave, checked the GPS tracker. She drove to Thomas Brennan's building in Streeterville. I sat in my living room, alone, except for Ryan's video game sounds filtering down from upstairs, and felt something inside me go cold and still. Ed Morrison called me on Thursday morning. I've got what you need, he said. Can you come by this afternoon? I rearranged my schedule and drove to his office in Naperville. He handed me a thick envelope. 47 photos, he said, all from the past week. Your wife entering and leaving Brennan's condo building. Brennan kissing her in the parking garage. The two of them at various restaurants. Time-stamped, date-stamped, no room for denial. I opened the envelope. The first photo showed Jennifer and Thomas standing close together outside his building, his hand on her lower back. The second showed them kissing, her hands in his hair, his arms around her waist. There's more, Ed said. I followed up on the friend situation you mentioned. Amanda Peterson. What about her? She and Brennan have a history. They dated briefly 3 years ago, right after his divorce. It ended badly. She wanted more, he didn't. But they stayed in touch professionally. She's consulted for a couple of his portfolio companies. So she introduced him to Jennifer. Probably. I couldn't confirm the timeline exactly, but it fits. Peterson and your wife have been close for years. She would have had plenty of opportunities. I stared at the photos, feeling something like static in my head. You okay? Ed asked. Yeah, thank you. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. I drove home with the envelope on the passenger seat. Couldn't stop glancing at it. Couldn't stop seeing that image of Jennifer kissing another man, looking happier than she'd looked with me in years. When I got home, Jennifer was in the kitchen making dinner. She smiled when I walked in. Hey, you're early. I'm trying a new recipe, lemon chicken. Should be ready in 20 minutes. Sounds great. How was your day? Fine, busy. I set my briefcase down, walked over, kissed her cheek. She smelled like that expensive perfume again, the one she wore for Thomas Brennan. Kids home? I asked. Melissa's at work, Ryan's at practice. We've got the house to ourselves for a bit. Nice. I went to my office and sat at my desk, opened the envelope, looked through the photos again, one by one, memorizing every detail. Then I made a decision. At dinner, I was charming, asked Jennifer about her day, laughed at her jokes, complimented the chicken. She seemed pleased, relaxed. We talked about Ryan's baseball season, about Melissa's plans for next semester, about whether we should finally remodel the bathroom. Normal conversation, normal life. After dinner, Jennifer went upstairs to take a shower. I cleaned the kitchen, loaded the dishwasher, wiped down the counters. When she came back down, her hair was wet, and she was wearing her favorite robe. Want to watch something? She asked. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something. Okay. She sat down on the couch, tucked her legs under her. What's up? I sat across from her, not beside her, kept my voice calm. I know about Thomas Brennan. Her face went white. What? I know you're having an affair. I've known for about 2 weeks. I have phone records, credit card statements, GPS data, and 47 photographs documenting your relationship. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. David, I'm not interested in excuses. I just want to understand why. Tears started streaming down her face. I didn't mean for it to happen. But it did. Yes. Her voice broke. I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. How long? 6 months, maybe 7. And Amanda knows? She nodded, wiping at her eyes. She introduced us. She thought, God, this is going to sound awful. She thought Thomas and I would be good together. Professionally, at first, just networking. But then you fell in love with him. I don't know if it's love. I don't know what it is. She was crying harder now, her whole body shaking. I just know I've felt alive for the first time in years. Like I matter, like I'm more than just someone's wife or someone's mom. You are more than that. You've always been more than that. But I didn't feel like it, not until Thomas. I sat back, absorbing this. What were you planning to do? Leave me? I don't know. I've been trying to figure that out. Amanda keeps saying I should just end things with you, start over with Thomas. But I can't. The kids, this house, everything we've built. Amanda wants you to leave me so she can have Thomas. Jennifer froze. What? She's in love with him. She has been for years. You didn't know that? No, she never... Jennifer's face crumpled. Oh, God. She introduced us. She encouraged me to see him. She kept telling me I deserved to be happy, that you and I had grown apart, that I should follow my heart. Because she thought if you took Thomas from me, she'd eventually get him for herself. That's insane. Is it? Read your text messages with her. Really read them. She's been manipulating you from the start. Jennifer grabbed her phone with shaking hands, scrolled through her conversation with Amanda. I watched her face change as she read, confusion, then understanding, then horror. She's been using me, Jennifer whispered. Yeah. All this time she's been... Jennifer looked up at me, her eyes red and swollen. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. I wanted to hear your side first. My side? She laughed, bitter. My side is that I'm a terrible person who threw away 22 years of marriage because I was bored and selfish and stupid. There's no good side to this, David. Do you love him? Thomas? She took a long time to answer. I don't think so. I think I love the way he makes me feel. But that's not the same thing, is it? No. I love you. I know that doesn't mean much right now, but I do. I always have. Just not enough. Not enough, she agreed, crying again. We sat in silence for a while. I heard the front door open, Ryan coming home from practice. He called out a greeting, headed straight upstairs without stopping. "What happens now?" Jennifer asked. "That depends on what you want. I want to fix this. I want to make it right." "You can't. Not entirely. But you can end things with Thomas. You can cut Amanda out of your life. And you can be honest with me from now on." "That's it? You're not leaving me?" "I didn't say that. I said we need to figure out what you want. If you want to stay married, we can try therapy, work through this. If you want a divorce, I'll give you one. But you need to make a choice, Jennifer. And you need to make it knowing that I have documentation of everything. If you lie to me again, if you keep seeing Thomas, I will file for divorce and use that documentation to make sure you get as little as possible." She stared at me. "You're serious?" "I've never been more serious in my life. I want to stay married. I want to fix this." "Okay, then tomorrow, you're going to text Thomas and tell him it's over. You're going to block his number. You're going to tell Amanda you know what she's been doing, and you're never speaking to her again. And you're going to come with me to see a marriage counselor I've already called." "You've already?" She shook her head. "How long have you been planning this?" 2 weeks. I wanted to be sure before I said anything. I wanted to understand what I was dealing with. And now, you understand? Now I understand that my wife had an affair because she felt invisible, and her best friend manipulated her into it because that best friend was in love with the same man. So yeah, I understand. Jennifer buried her face in her hands. "I'm so sorry, David. I'm so sorry." "I know, but sorry isn't enough. You need to show me." "I will, I promise, whatever it takes." I stood up. "I'm going to sleep in the guest room tonight. Tomorrow, we start fixing this, or we start ending it. Your choice." I left her on the couch and went upstairs. Lay in the guest bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd just made a terrible mistake. Jennifer texted Thomas the next morning. I know because I was standing right there when she did it. "Jennifer, I can't do this anymore. My husband knows everything. It's over." She showed me the screen before hitting send. Her hand was shaking. "Send it," I said. She did. Thomas responded within 30 seconds. "Thomas, we need to talk. Call me." "Jennifer, there's nothing to talk about. Please don't contact me again." Thomas, "Jen, come on. We can figure this out." Jennifer, "I'm blocking your number. Goodbye." She blocked him, then looked at me. "What about Amanda?" "That one you do in person." We drove to Amanda's building together. The doorman called up, and Amanda buzzed us in without asking questions. When we knocked on her apartment door, she opened it with a smile. "Hey, what a nice surprise. I was just—" She stopped when she saw our faces. "What's wrong?" "Can we come in?" Jennifer's voice was tight. "Of course." Amanda stepped back, confused. We walked into her apartment. Sleek, modern, expensive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the lake, minimalist furniture, everything perfect and cold. Jennifer turned to face her best friend. "Did you know Thomas wanted me before you introduced us?" Amanda's face went carefully blank. "What? Did you introduce us because you thought we'd be good together, or because you wanted me to take him off the market so you could stop pining over him?" "Jen, I don't know what—" "Don't lie to me. David figured it out. You dated Thomas 3 years ago. You wanted more, he didn't. But you stayed in touch, and when he started working near me, you saw an opportunity." "That's not—" Amanda looked at me. "You told her that?" "I didn't have to," I said. "She read your text messages." Amanda's face crumpled. "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like?" Jennifer's voice was rising. "Were you my friend? Or were you using me to get closer to a man who didn't want you?" "Both." Amanda sat down hard on her couch. "It was both. I care about you, Jen. I always have. But yes, I also thought— God, this sounds terrible. I thought if you and Thomas got together, maybe eventually he'd see me differently. Maybe if he realized how great you were, and then saw how supportive I was, he'd want me too." "That's insane." I know it's insane. But I've been in love with him for 3 years and I can't just turn it off. So you sacrificed my marriage for a fantasy. I didn't think it would matter. You complained about David all the time. You said you felt trapped, that you'd married too young, that you wondered what else was out there. I thought I was helping you find happiness, while destroying my family. You destroyed your family, Amanda shot back. I didn't force you to have an affair. I didn't make you lie to your husband. You did that. Jennifer slapped her. The sound echoed in the apartment. Amanda pressed a hand to her cheek, tears streaming down her face. Jennifer was crying too, her whole body shaking. 20 years, Jennifer said. 20 years of friendship and you used me like this. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We're done. I don't ever want to see you again. Jennifer turned and walked out. I followed her, leaving Amanda alone in her perfect apartment. We drove home in silence. Jennifer cried the whole way. When we got to the house, she went straight upstairs. I heard the bedroom door close, heard her sobbing through the walls. I sat in the living room and called Phil. It's done, I said. Jennifer ended it with Brennan, confronted Amanda. Everything's out in the open. How'd Jennifer take it? Hard, but she wants to try to fix things. And you? I don't know yet. That's fair. What about the evidence? You still want me to keep it ready just in case? Yeah, keep it ready. That night we had family dinner, me, Jennifer, Melissa, and Ryan. Jennifer put on a brave face, smiled, and asked about everyone's day. The kids didn't notice anything wrong. Or if they did, they didn't say anything. After dinner, Jennifer and I sat down with both of them. We need to talk to you guys about something, I said. Melissa frowned. Are you getting divorced? No, Jennifer said quickly. No, we're not, but things have been difficult between your father and me lately. We're going to see a counselor, work through some issues. What kind of issues? Ryan asked. Adult issues, I said. Nothing for you to worry about. We just wanted you to know that we might seem stressed for a while, but we're handling it. Okay. Ryan looked relieved. Can I go back to my game? Yeah, buddy, go ahead. Melissa stayed behind after Ryan left. She looked at Jennifer, then at me. Did you cheat on Dad? She asked her mother. Jennifer's face went pale. Melissa, did you? Yes, Jennifer's voice broke. Yes, I did. And I'm sorry you had to find out like this. Who was it? That doesn't matter. It matters to me. Melissa, I said gently, your mom made a mistake, a big one, but we're trying to work through it. We'd appreciate if you could give us some space to do that. Melissa looked at me with something like pity in her eyes. Dad, you don't have to protect her. I'm not protecting her. I'm protecting our family. By letting her get away with it? By choosing to forgive her. There's a difference. Melissa shook her head. I don't know if I can. You don't have to, not right away, just don't shut her out completely, okay? She's still your mom. Melissa left without another word. Jennifer collapsed into tears again. She hates me, she sobbed. She doesn't hate you. She's hurt and angry. Give her time. I've destroyed everything. Not everything. Not yet. We started couples therapy the following week. The therapist's name was Dr. Helen Ortiz, and she was patient but firm. She made us talk about things we'd been avoiding for years. My tendency to bury myself in work, Jennifer's feeling of being taken for granted, the ways we'd both let our marriage become stale. Infidelity doesn't happen in a vacuum, Dr. Ortiz said during our third session. There are usually underlying issues that create vulnerability. That doesn't excuse the affair, but it's important to understand the context. I felt invisible, Jennifer said. David was always working. The kids were busy with their own lives. I was just there, going through the motions. Did you tell David how you felt? I tried. He didn't listen. I wanted to argue, but she was right. I'd been so focused on building the practice, on providing for the family, that I'd stopped paying attention to my wife's emotional needs. I'm sorry, I said. I should have listened. and I should have been honest instead of turning to someone else. Dr. Ortiz nodded. Good, that's progress. Now, Jennifer, tell me about Amanda's role in all this. Jennifer explained the whole situation, how Amanda had introduced her to Thomas, encouraged the affair, manipulated her into thinking she deserved to be free. Dr. Ortiz listened without judgment. So Amanda had her own agenda, Dr. Ortiz said, and she exploited your vulnerability to serve that agenda. How does that make you feel? Betrayed, stupid, angry. And you've cut contact with her? Completely. Good. You need to rebuild trust, and that means removing people from your life who undermined your marriage. Dr. Ortiz turned to me. David, how are you processing everything? I'm angry, I'm hurt, but I'm also trying to understand why it happened. Do you want to stay married? I think so, but I need to know Jennifer's committed, really committed. I am, Jennifer said. I swear I am. We worked through it, week after week, session after session. Some days were better than others. Some days, I looked at Jennifer and saw the woman I'd fallen in love with 22 years ago. Other days, I saw the woman who'd kissed Thomas Brennan in a parking garage and felt my chest tighten with rage. But we kept trying. 3 months later, things were better. Not perfect, but better. Jennifer had thrown herself into rebuilding our relationship. She came home every night by 6. She stopped working late. She planned date nights, suggested weekend trips, asked about my day, and actually listened to the answers. Melissa had softened toward her mother, though they weren't as close as they used to be. Ryan seemed oblivious to the whole thing, which was probably for the best. And me? I was trying. Really trying. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was still unfinished. That's when Thomas Brennan called my office. My secretary patched him through before I could tell her to send him to voicemail. David Turner? His voice was smooth, confident, the voice of a man used to getting what he wanted. Who's this? Thomas Brennan. I think we should talk. I almost hung up. Instead, I said, about what? About Jennifer, and about what happened between us. There's nothing to talk about. I disagree. I'd like to meet. Coffee, somewhere public, just a conversation. Why would I do that? Because you deserve to hear my side of things, and because I think you'll want to know what I have to say. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a Starbucks in the Loop 2 days later. Thomas was exactly what I'd expected, polished, articulate, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my car. He ordered a cappuccino and sat down across from me like we were old friends. Thanks for meeting me, he said. I haven't decided if this is a mistake yet. Fair enough. He sipped his coffee. I want you to know I didn't pursue Jennifer with the intention of breaking up your marriage. It just happened. Things don't just happen. People make choices. You're right, and I made a choice to get involved with a married woman. That was wrong. Is this where you apologize? If you want me to. I don't care about your apology. I care about why you're here. Thomas leaned back in his chair. I'm here because Amanda contacted me last week. That got my attention. What did she want? She wanted to tell me that you'd manipulated Jennifer into ending things with me. She claimed you'd threatened to take everything in the divorce if Jennifer didn't comply. That's not what happened. I know. Jennifer told me the truth before she blocked me, but Amanda's version of events was interesting, made me realize how much she'd been manipulating both of us. She introduced you to Jennifer. She did. And she spent months encouraging Jennifer to leave you, telling her she deserved better, pushing her toward me. At the time, I thought Amanda was just being a good friend. Now I realize she was setting something up. She wanted you for herself. Apparently, when Jennifer ended things, Amanda called me crying, said she'd always loved me, that she'd done everything to help me and Jennifer be together because she thought I'd eventually see her as more than a friend. Thomas shook his head. I had no idea. I dated Amanda briefly years ago, but I made it clear I wasn't interested in anything serious. I thought she'd moved on. She didn't. No, and now she's angry that her plan didn't work. She's threatening to contact Jennifer, to tell her that I'm only staying away because you forced me to. Are you? No. I'm staying away because Jennifer asked me to, because she chose you, and because I respect that choice, even if I don't love it. I studied him. He seemed sincere, but I'd been fooled before. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because I think Amanda's dangerous. She's obsessive. And if she can't have me, I don't think she's going to let Jennifer have peace. What do you want me to do about it? I don't know. But I thought you should know what you're dealing with. We talked for another 20 minutes. Thomas told me about his divorce, about his kids, about the mistakes he'd made. He was surprisingly self-aware, surprisingly human. I still didn't like him, but I understood why Jennifer had been drawn to him. When we parted ways, he shook my hand. For what it's worth, he said, Jennifer loves you. She always did. I was just a distraction. That doesn't make it hurt less. I know. But it should matter. I drove home thinking about that. Jennifer loved me. She'd made a mistake, a big one, but she'd chosen to stay, to fight for our marriage. That had to count for something. When I got home, Jennifer was in the kitchen making dinner. She smiled when she saw me. Hey, how was your day? Interesting. I met with Thomas Brennan. Her smile vanished. What? Why? I told her about the call, about the meeting, about what Thomas had said regarding Amanda. She's still trying to manipulate things, Jennifer said, her voice hollow. Even now. Looks like it. What should we do? Nothing. Let her stew in her own mess. She's not our problem anymore. Jennifer nodded, but she looked shaken. That night, she triple-checked all the locks on the doors. The next morning, Amanda showed up at my office. My secretary buzzed me. There's a woman here to see you. She doesn't have an appointment, but she says it's urgent. Who is it? Amanda Peterson. I considered telling her to leave, but curiosity got the better of me. Send her in. Amanda walked into my office looking like she hadn't slept in days. Her hair was messy, her clothes wrinkled. She sat down across from my desk without being invited. You ruined everything, she said. I saved my marriage. You manipulated Jennifer. You threatened her. You turned her against me. I told Jennifer the truth, that you'd been using her to get to Thomas, that you'd encouraged her affair because you were in love with the same man. That's not... Amanda's voice broke. I was trying to help her. You were trying to help yourself. She was miserable with you. She told me all the time. She said she felt trapped, that she'd given up her whole life for you and the kids. I thought if she could just be with Thomas, she'd finally be happy. And then what? Thomas would see how supportive you were and fall in love with you? It wasn't like that. That's exactly what it was like. Amanda started crying. I loved him. I still love him. And I thought if I could just get them together, if I could show him how good we'd all be together, he'd realize. Realize what? That you were worth loving? Amanda, people don't work that way. You can't manipulate someone into caring about you. I wasn't manipulating. Yes, you were. You manipulated Jennifer into having an affair. You manipulated Thomas by introducing him to Jennifer. You manipulated everyone around you because you were too scared to just tell Thomas how you felt. I did tell him, 3 years ago. He said he wasn't interested. So you decided to destroy my marriage instead? I didn't destroy anything. Jennifer made her own choices. You're right, she did. And one of those choices was to cut you out of her life. So whatever you came here to say, save it. Jennifer doesn't want to hear from you. Thomas doesn't want to hear from you. And I sure as hell don't want to hear from you. You're a vindictive, controlling man. You're forcing Jennifer to stay in a marriage she doesn't want. Jennifer wants to be married to me. Ask her yourself. Oh, wait, you can't, because she blocked your number. Amanda stood up, shaking with rage. This isn't over. Yes, it is. Get out of my office. She left. I sat at my desk, breathing hard, trying to process what had just happened. Then I called Phil. I need a restraining order, I said. Amanda Peterson just showed up at my office making threats. What kind of threats? Nothing specific. But she's unstable. I want her legally required to stay away from me and Jennifer. I'll draft the paperwork today. 3 days later, Amanda was served with a restraining order. She couldn't come within 500 feet of me, Jennifer, our house, or my office. If she violated it, she'd be arrested. Jennifer cried when I told her. I can't believe it came to this. She did it to herself. I know, but she was my best friend, David, for 20 years. And she used that friendship to hurt you. Don't feel bad about protecting yourself. Jennifer nodded, but I could see the pain in her eyes. Losing Amanda, really, truly losing her, was hitting Jennifer harder than I'd expected. We kept going to therapy, kept working on our marriage, kept trying to rebuild trust, and slowly, things started to feel normal again. 6 months after I'd discovered the affair, Jennifer and I went out to dinner. Just the two of us. No kids, no distractions. We went to Marcello's, the place where I'd proposed all those years ago. Why here? Jennifer asked as we sat down. Because I want to remember why we started this, why we fell in love in the first place. She smiled, but there were tears in her eyes. I don't deserve you. Maybe not, but you're stuck with me anyway. We ordered wine, talked about the kids, about work, about everything except the affair. It felt good, normal, like maybe we could actually get past this. David, Jennifer said over dessert, can I ask you something? Of course. Why did you give me a second chance? Most men wouldn't have. I thought about that. Because I love you. Because we have a life together, a family, 2 decades of history. Because throwing all that away felt like letting Amanda win. Is that the only reason? No. I also did it because I believe people can change. And because I could see how sorry you were, how hard you were willing to work to fix things. And it's working? You think we're fixing things? I think we're trying. That's enough for now. Jennifer reached across the table and took my hand. I love you. I know I don't say it enough, but I do. I love you too. We finished dinner and drove home. Melissa's car was in the driveway. She'd come home from college for the weekend. Ryan's light was on upstairs. Everything looked exactly like it always had. Inside, Melissa was sitting on the couch with her laptop. She looked up when we walked in. Hey, good dinner? Really good, Jennifer said. What are you working on? Paper for my con law class. It's due Monday. Melissa closed her laptop. Can I talk to you guys about something? Sure. We sat down across from her. I've been thinking a lot about everything that happened. With you and with the affair. Melissa looked at Jennifer. And I think I get it now. Why you did it. Melissa, you don't have to. Let me finish. I get why you felt trapped. I get why you wanted something different. But Mom, the way you went about it was selfish and cruel. You hurt Dad. You hurt me and Ryan. You hurt yourself. I know. And I'm sorry. I know you're sorry. But sorry doesn't fix the trust you broke. Melissa turned to me. And Dad, I get why you took her back, but you need to stop pretending everything's fine. You're still hurt. I can see it. I'm working through it. Are you? Or are you just burying it because that's what you always do? That stung. What do you want me to do, Melissa? Divorce your mother? Destroy this family out of spite? No, I want you to be honest with her. Tell her how you really feel. Stop protecting her feelings at the expense of your own. She was right. I knew she was right. But saying it out loud, admitting that I was still angry, still hurt, still wondering if Jennifer would have stayed if I hadn't caught her, felt impossible. I'm trying, I said finally. Try harder. Melissa stood up, grabbed her laptop. I'm going to bed. Love you both. After she left, Jennifer and I sat in silence. She's right, Jennifer said quietly. You're still angry. Of course I'm still angry. You had an affair. You lied to me for months. You only stopped because I found out. I know. Do you? Because sometimes I think you see this as something we're just getting through. Like it's a rough patch that'll eventually smooth out. But that's not how this works, Jennifer. What you did changed everything. Changed me. I don't trust you the way I used to. I don't look at you the same way. So why did you stay? Because I loved you too much to leave. Because our kids deserved a shot at having an intact family. Because walking away felt like admitting defeat. And now? Now I'm still here, still trying, still hoping that one day I'll wake up and it won't hurt anymore. Jennifer was crying again. What can I do? How do I fix this? You can't, not completely. You can just keep showing up, keep being honest, keep choosing me. Eventually, maybe I'll believe you really mean it. I do mean it. Then prove it. Every single day. She nodded. I will. We went to bed that night in the same room for the first time in months. Jennifer fell asleep quickly, but I lay awake, thinking about everything that had happened. The affair, the betrayal, Amanda's manipulation, the way Jennifer had looked at Thomas Brennan in those photos Ed Morrison had taken. But also, the way Jennifer had fought to save our marriage, the way she'd cut Amanda out of her life, the way she showed up to therapy every week, ready to do the work. People make mistakes. Sometimes, if you're lucky, they learn from them. I fell asleep thinking about that. The next morning, I woke up to find Jennifer already out of bed. I went downstairs and found her in the kitchen making breakfast. She smiled when she saw me. Morning, I made pancakes. You hate making pancakes. I know, but you love them. She set a plate in front of me. So I figured I'd give it a shot. They were lumpy and slightly burned, but they were the best pancakes I'd ever tasted. 2 days later, I got a call from Phil. Amanda violated the restraining order, he said. She showed up at Jennifer's office yesterday. Security called the police. Is Jennifer okay? She's fine. Shaken up, but fine. Amanda was arrested. She's being held pending a hearing. What happens now? Depends on what the judge decides, but if she violates again, she'll do jail time. Good. I called Jennifer immediately. Are you okay? I'm fine. It was scary, but the security team handled it well. What did Amanda want? To talk. She kept saying we needed to fix things, that I was making a mistake staying with you. What did you say? I told her to leave. Then I called security. I'm proud of you. Thanks. Jennifer's voice was shaky. David, I think she's having some kind of breakdown. She didn't look right. Her hair, her clothes. She looked like she hasn't been taking care of herself. That's not your problem anymore. I know, but I still care about her. Even after everything. You're a better person than I am. No, just a sadder one. We hung up. I sat at my desk, thinking about Amanda Peterson, about how love, or obsession, or whatever she'd felt for Thomas, had twisted her into someone unrecognizable. I thought about how close Jennifer had come to ending up the same way, how close I'd come to losing everything, and I thought about how lucky we were that I'd found those text messages before things got worse. That night, Jennifer came home early. She walked into my office and set a piece of paper on my desk. What's this? I asked. A letter. To you. I've been working on it in therapy. Dr. Ortiz thought it might help. I picked it up and read. David, I don't know if words can fix what I broke, but I need to try. I spent months lying to you. Lying to myself. Telling myself that what I was doing was okay because I deserved to be happy. But happiness built on lies isn't real happiness. It's just temporary escape from the hard work of being a good person. You gave me everything, a home, a family, 22 years of stability and love, and I repaid you by betraying you in the worst possible way. I told myself it was because I felt invisible, because you didn't appreciate me. But the truth is, I was bored and selfish and cowardly. Instead of talking to you about how I felt, I turned to someone else. Amanda told me I deserved to be free. She told me you were holding me back, that I'd given up too much for our family. And I believed her. I believed her because it was easier than admitting that I was the problem, that I'd stopped trying, that I'd let our marriage become something routine and safe instead of fighting to keep it alive. I can't undo what I did. I can't give you back the trust I shattered. But I can promise you this. I will spend the rest of my life proving that I'm worth the second chance you gave me. I will never lie to you again. I will never take you for granted. I will choose you every single day for as long as you'll let me. I love you. I always have. And I'm so sorry. Jennifer. I read it twice. Then I looked up at her, standing in the doorway of my office with tears streaming down her face. Thank you, I said. Do you believe me? I'm starting to. She walked over and wrapped her arms around me. I held her, feeling something in my chest start to ease. Maybe we could do this. Maybe we could actually fix what she'd broken. Maybe love really was enough. 3 weeks later, Amanda was sentenced to 60 days in jail for violating the restraining order. Jennifer didn't go to the hearing. I did, just to make sure it was really over. Amanda looked small in her orange jumpsuit. She didn't look at me. Didn't say anything. Just sat there while the judge read the sentence. As they led her away, she glanced back once. Not at me. At the door, like she was hoping someone would walk through it. Hoping Thomas would show up to save her. No one did. I left the courthouse and drove to Jennifer's office, took her to lunch. We talked about normal things, Ryan's college applications, Melissa's summer internship plans, whether we should finally take that vacation to Ireland we'd been talking about for years. I think we should, Jennifer said. I think we need it. Okay, let's do it. Really? Really. She smiled, a real smile, not the careful, guilty ones she'd been giving me for months. I love you, David Turner. I love you too. And I meant it. 6 more months passed. We went to Ireland, Dublin, Galway, the cliffs of Moher. We held hands and took pictures and laughed like we were young again. It wasn't perfect. Some days were still hard. Some days, I still thought about those photos Ed Morrison had taken, about Jennifer kissing Thomas Brennan in a parking garage. But most days were good. Most days, I looked at my wife and saw the woman I'd married, the woman I'd built a life with, the woman who'd made a terrible mistake but was working every day to make it right. That's not forgiveness exactly. Maybe it never will be. But it's something close, something real, and sometimes that's enough. We came home from Ireland on a Tuesday. The house was exactly how we'd left it. Melissa had stayed there while we were gone, keeping an eye on things. She'd even cleaned the kitchen, which was more than we'd asked for. That night, we had family dinner. All 4 of us together, talking and laughing and arguing about whether Ryan should go to State or Michigan for baseball. Normal. Beautifully, perfectly normal. After dinner, Jennifer and I sat on the back porch with glasses of wine. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Do you remember what you said that first night? Jennifer asked. When you confronted me? I said a lot of things. You said I had to choose, stay married and do the work or get a divorce. No more lies, no more betrayal. I remember. I chose you, and I'd choose you again every time. I know. She leaned her head on my shoulder. I was so stupid, David, I almost lost everything. But you didn't. We didn't. Because you gave me a second chance. Because I love you. We sat there as the sun went down, watching the sky fade from orange to purple to black. Somewhere in the distance, Ryan was playing music too loud. Melissa was on the phone with a friend. Life was happening all around us, messy and imperfect and real. And I realized something. I'd won. not in some dramatic, vengeful way. I hadn't destroyed Jennifer or Amanda or Thomas. I hadn't burned everything down out of spite. I'd won by choosing to fight for my marriage, by choosing to forgive, by choosing to believe that love, real love, the kind built on years of history and shared sacrifice, was worth fighting for. Amanda had dreamed of being with Thomas. Jennifer had dreamed of being free. I'd given Jennifer what she really needed, a second chance. And Amanda? She'd gotten exactly what she deserved. Nothing. "What are you thinking about?" Jennifer asked. "That we made it," I said. "Against all odds, we actually made it." "Yeah." She squeezed my hand. "We did." We sat there together, holding hands in the dark, and for the first time in over a year, I felt at peace.